Well, good afternoon, everybody. This is a little different and a little unusual. If you are a regular here, of course. If you're new, my name is Rob. Welcome to vidIQ. And what we would typically do here every single Tuesday is channel audits, reviewing your channels. But since Dan is still on hiatus and channel audits are a bit difficult to do with a single person, I thought I'd do something a little different this week. So don't be alarmed. Full disclaimer, if you want your channel audit, you might want to leave now. But if you do want to stay, and if you are a regular here at vidIQ, or you just want to learn more about growing your channel and perhaps the best equipment or tips and tricks for building out your own YouTube studio, then fingers crossed you've come to the right place. Because what I'm going to do today is, if I had my soundboard with me, I'll do a drum roll. We are going to do a studio tour of vidIQ Studios here. Now, this is going to be a solo run, and I'm using my phone for the first time. So this is something new. It's an experiment. I'm live streaming from a phone, and I have no idea if this is going to work throughout the stream. We're going to try and go for the usual 2 hours. And I think my battery will last that long, but I'm not sure. Hopefully the lighting is going to be okay. Hopefully the microphone is going to work throughout this live stream as well. And hopefully the quality is of an acceptable level. We have our fantastic community manager here with us, Vicky, who is keeping track of the comments, and she's going to let those comments appear on screen, like this one. Thank you from, I've just realized I can't, I wear glasses and it's going to find it really difficult to read people's names. So if you can put that on again, Vicky. Aspinash, yes, it took me a while to read that. I can read the comment, but the blue on white is difficult to read. So again, channel names will be butchered as per normal. So the idea is I'm going to show you everything I can remember about my studios. There's more than one. But to remind myself, I've written down a sheet of all of the things that I'm going to try and go through to remind myself to show you all of the amazing things. What we've agreed on is that super chats you can send as per normal. That's perfectly fine. And we will deal with them in a bunch if you want to send a super chat, but keep those super chats for studio tour stuff. So try to avoid questions about your channel auditing style questions. We want it to be about how to build a studio, what equipment to use, that type of thing there today. Trying to make it a bit of a special. But in saying that, I might go too fast and I may miss stuff. And we're going to try and keep an eye on the chat so that if I miss something really important or you want me to go back and let you know what I'm looking at, we're going to bring those comments up and they aren't super chats or anything. But word of warning, this is the first time we're ever doing this. Live streams, as you well know on this channel, go wrong, go often. So we'll see what happens. But here we go with a studio tour after I read this question that comes from Cosmic Tron. When exactly did you start the studio? How did you get the idea for it? Good question, actually. So again, if you've been a regular here, you will know that I moved from Canada back to the UK, and it gave me a fresh, clean slate with my studio. And I upgraded from just having one room to 2 rooms, and both of those rooms are bigger than the previous rooms. So I've been building this for around about 18 months, and having learned some things from my previous studio really helped me to build this one. And hopefully, if I remember, I'm going to show you those things. Now, what's going to happen here is I'm going to switch to my back-facing camera. So you're not going to see me as much. I will rotate round as and when I need to, but really you want to see what I'm looking at through my eyes almost. So I'm going to tap some buttons on the screen now, which should switch us back to the front camera, if I can remember how to do this. So bear with me. And we want to make sure we're using the right camera here. So I just want to check that that kind of zooms in, because we have to remember on my Galaxy S23, we have a wide angle and we have a normal angle camera. And I want to make sure I'm using the one which is going to give you the best quality. And that's the one. Okay, yeah, so that's going to zoom in pretty well. Right, so let's start with this room. I'll try and give you a from the corner look to show you everything that we can see right now. All right, we're going to try and go through all of this over the next couple of hours, if not more. But we'll start with the main stage. This is the one that I spent a good 3 or 4 months building and trying to decide how to make it look really cool. And I think the finishing touch for this was painting it black, because it really makes the light shine and glow when I have it like such. And to demonstrate this effectively, what we're going to do is turn off the main lights, and then we're going to turn on all of these lights, okay? And it's done with this really useful button here that just turns everything on for me in one switch. So that's something that's really useful to have, a one switch turns everything on situation. And that's typically how it looks. Obviously, it's not going to look as good on this camera, but through that camera, it typically looks pretty good. Got a question here. You're obsessed with Captain Marvel stuff. Yes. We'll get onto that. We'll get onto that. So let's look at these lights first. This is a neon light bought from Etsy. And this is another neon light bought from Etsy, but it was custom built for me. Another thing that I should have done for this live stream is get affiliate links for everything. And we could have profited so much from all of the links, but I forgot to do that. So we may fix this post live stream. I'm going to try to remember to mention all of the brand names and stuff, but it's going to be really hard because a lot of stuff was generic light from Amazon. But these are the neon lights that we have. And these little spotlights are just LED lights that are stuck to the shelves. And if I want, I can change these to different colors. So we might have a blue there if we wanted to, or a green. But I typically go for this purple look because we have red, blue, and then in the middle here, we have some more lights. And I can turn that light on and make it look very sweet and very cool. Again, it's not going to look perfect on this camera, but on my main camera, it looks awesome. Another question here from Murley Sims. Sorry, I should be wearing my other glasses because I can't read the comments. For lighting, blackout curtains, blinds, or don't bother. I have just got some blinds. I did have a blackout curtain in the other students, tended to work well. But I think if you get the lighting and the camera settings right on your camera, you can kind of work around it. Like this light from here is changing all of the time. But the way I have my camera settings, it seems to negate that. I should try and remember what the camera settings are. So we have this big light up here. But if I wanted to have a little bit more of an accent here, I turn that light off. And I have another light stuck here, which just adds that. That looks cool, doesn't it? It doesn't reflect the light as much, but it has that gold shimmer on it. Chef's kiss. We'll get to some of the trinkets now. 3D printed YouTube logo bought from Etsy. We'll get on to more about 3D logo printed stuff. And that is a custom 3D printed logo of vidIQ's icon made by my 3D printer. We'll talk a lot about that soon. This question comes from Philip Hawkins. What sort of sound treatment have you done to minimize reverb? All right, another good question. I have put some of these sound panels up here, again, just kind of generic Amazon ones. I will say, though, I've had more sound issues in this room than the previous place. Also, carpeting really helps as well to dampen the sound. And just basically objects around the sides of the walls. This all kind of deflects sound, but I haven't got it perfect. And I'm still working on that. But I'll show you how I reduce the reverb as much as I can. So thanks for the question. Marvel shields. Yes, I have quite a few of them, and you'll see some more, but I always put the vidIQ sticker on them just for branding's sake. This here is a reminder of my time in Canada, which I enjoyed very, very much. And you may have seen this in several of our videos. I've also got a light up here, by the way, and I can turn it on. So there you go. That kind of makes it easier to see this. Thor's hammer, well, vidIQ's Thor's hammer. That's appeared in several vidIQ videos in the past. And then we move on to, of course, the play buttons. So obviously the gold play button for 1 million subscribers, which we hit in November of 2021. And then onto the 100,000 play buttons. You may be asking why I've got 4 of them. And I can give you that answer right now. The first one is for the Video Gadgets Journal. Does it look better like that? Yeah. This is my own personal YouTube channel. Before I was at vidIQ, I had my own tech channel. Check it out. It is mothballed right now, but I did crack 100,000 subscribers before I joined vidIQ officially. It's a bit dinted and scratched right now, but not as bad as this one. The original vidIQ play button. Look at that. Ugh. The story behind that is that 2 weeks after I got this play button, I went to VidCon and I wanted to show it to our team, but I put it in my rucksack and it got all horribly scratched. I felt terrible and guilty that I'd ruined our play button. But fortunately, you can buy more play buttons from YouTube. So that's exactly what I did. So I guess you might call these 2 play buttons clickbait. And that I don't actually have 4 play buttons. We've just duplicated one, but it, you know, for symmetry's sake on this setup, it looks cool, doesn't it? And the last one down here is for our Spanish channel. We do have a Spanish vidIQ channel where the awesome team at Unilingo translate all of my videos and Dan's and John's into Spanish by professional artists. So do check that out if you're a Spanish-speaking creator. At the bottom here, we have the custom-made 500 subscriber vidIQ Championship belt. I'm a big fan of wrestling. That is very blinding. I'm a big fan of wrestling, and I wanted something unique. And who knows, maybe for 2 million, which we're getting close to, I may get another belt, because YouTube doesn't give you a belt or anything for 2 million subscribers. Question here from Aaron Snow, do you have to pay for the play buttons? If so, how much? So you don't have to pay for the original one you get. Like they'll send you a play button when you reach the requirements for free. But if you want to buy a replacement, then I think the silver ones are $150 and the gold ones are $450 because we had one sent to Dan and also our CEO's address as well. So I think we have 3 vidIQ's gold play buttons somewhere. And you can also buy one of these. It's a nice little segue. This is a letter from the now former CEO, Susan Wojcicki, that just says, congratulations for getting 1 million subscribers. And I think that was $100. Gold, it's kind of like gold, but it's behind perspex. So the problem is, as you can see, it reflects me horribly. And that's why I don't really use it in many videos, because it just reflects the light too much. And then we're getting into man cave stuff down here. So you'll never see this on the videos, I don't think, but I have a Lego Discovery shuttle. The reason I got that is because I saw the Hubble Space Telescope get launched into space when I was in Florida on holiday, a vacation. So that's why I bought that. And then some Star Wars stuff here. I mean, everybody's got to have a Millennium Falcon Star Wars, right? Okay, so that is the main stage, basically. And if I just turn on my camera for a moment, kind of give you an idea of what it looks like through the camera's lens. So that's what it looks like, typically speaking, if you were to film. And of course, you've seen this setup many times. More on that a little bit later. But what I want to show you next, and this for me was like a light bulb moment. It's like, oh, this has just solved so many of my problems. And hopefully it may solve your problems if you have a fixed studio and you really struggle with space. This thing up here, it's called either an auto pole or a very pole. And I think this one is from Manfrotto. And what it basically is a tension rod. And so you line it up. This can extend like, I think, to about 2 meters. And then you jolt it in place with this handle. And then this will just stay, won't go anywhere. And it'll be able to hold quite a bit of weight. So what this does here, but you're going to see this a lot more soon, is this is holding some basic lights. So I can add, this is another accent light, kind of just makes it shimmer off the side of a wall here. And we've also got one for the YouTube icon to add a bit more shimmer on the side. Just gives it more of a glow. And that's really cool. But we're going to look at these auto pearls a bit more. And the way I'm holding these lights, again, this is another critical moment of equipment discovery. I use these clamps all over the place. I can't remember exactly what they're called. I think they're called super clamps. And so you have these and you spin them around and it just grips onto stuff. And you'll probably see these clamps everywhere in my setup. I must have about 20 or 30 of them now. They're like $5 to $10 each. And they can be used for so many things. So that's why I have them. So auto pearl clamps, highly, highly recommended. And that is the main stage of the vidIQ Studio. Now, what happens next is some of the things that you don't see. That's bright. There are things behind the scenes. That's what a lot of studios look like. There's chaos around the scene, but the scene itself looks brilliant. But obviously, here is something that you never see on any of our videos. Question here: do you use a teleprompter for your script? It's another good question. We'll get to it. We'll get to it. You might need to wait about an hour, but we'll get to it. Here we have more man cave stuff. You may have seen some of these helmets dotted around my videos for years at this point. This is what kind of filled the shelves before I got into more 3D printer stuff. So they're now just sat here at the side, as well as my interest in Marvel, Star Wars, props. I am mad keen, and this goes back to my youth, on Star Wars and Star Trek models. So like 20, 30 years ago, I just bought and collected these for years. And so these are all starships, like Lego figures from all of those ships down there, and bigger Star Trek stuff. This is me showing my nerdy side. And now that I have disposable income and space, I've filled it with lots of nerdy stuff. Confession though, I have no interest in any of the recent Star Wars stuff, like Picard or Discovery. I am very much a Star Trek fan of the 80s and 90s and the early noughties. So you're talking about the Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, Enterprise. That is my sweet spot. And we have yet more trinkets, as I like to call them. So these are all of the little characters and stuff that I've collected over the years, including micro machines. That's where I got my start 30 years ago, buying Star Wars micro machines. Didn't collect them to sell them or keep them in pristine condition. I just loved getting all of these little ships and stuff. And just to let you know how hot it is, sometimes filming and recording in these studios. Right now it's 25 degrees, and it can very commonly get up to 30 degrees in the summer. And that for you Americans, I think, is like mid 80s, low 90s Fahrenheit. Can get a bit silly. All right, moving on to a scene that you don't often see, but I do use it when necessary. And if I was a tech channel, this might be my main filming scene, and I'd spruce it up a lot more, but it is where I film mobile phone stuff. So I actually can set down the camera as if I was filming something. I will put it here, and I've set up this vidIQ logo so that if I'm filming a phone, the phone would sit in the middle there. like this. I'm still not sure if I've got this set up right. I'm not convinced. I'm still playing around with it. I've also got a light here just to add a bit of a beam there. And also I have some LED lights attached to this table so that I can give like a bit of a glow, a shimmer again. To be honest, a lot of the time, I just build Lego here when I have Lego to build, but no Lego today. And one final thing about props. This is another gold play button I bought from Etsy, which says, maybe I can get this in the lights, presented to vidIQ again, as a bit of a joke. Problem with this, it's ultra shiny again, so when it's on camera, it just shows too much of a background, and that's why I don't often use that in my videos. But yeah, this is my mobile phone recording scene as and when I need to use it. And now the final scene here in this part of the studio is what I'm calling my 3D print corner. So all of these are 3D printed YouTube icons in different colors, or in a 3D printing space, different filaments. A little bit of an interesting tidbit here is that some of these actually look terrible. Like if I go really close in on this one, it's all rough and coarse, the material, because you're supposed to really treat your filaments with care and make sure the humidity is right and stuff. And I just don't really do that. I just print what I want. And so I get these kind of bad results. Thankfully, I'm not trying to sell any of this stuff. And when you zoom out, you can't see the imperfections, really. It just looks cool. Some of them look fine, like this purple one looks as if it's in pristine condition. But then this silver color, yeah, it's kind of all a bit warped and stuff. But these 3D logos take around about 3 hours to print. So, you know, you guess like each one of these columns took about a day and a half to print. So this, as simple as it looks, took about a week and a half to print. And you've probably seen this recently on my series I'm experimenting with, which is the YouTube launches update, and it's helpful, scary, interesting, so on and so forth. I have some blankets down here because these sometimes fall down, and I have this all stuck up with blue tack at the moment, just so it's easy to move around. And I guess another final thing I should note is that in this room, we've treated the walls with a vidIQ blue color here, and also this one, as I mentioned earlier, to give it that cool look, the black painted background. And I have some more spares printed here. And I'm not sure if I'm going to use these ones. I've just been using that demonetization icon for something today before we went live. All right, what I think I'm going to do now is maybe look at the super chats, if there are any super chats. So we've got super chats here from Teddy Cool. Thank you for the, I think, £1.99 super chat there. Appreciated. We've got another super chat here from Homemade Tunes Epic. Thank you. Thank you for the super chat. And another one here from Misuka Plays. Why is your microphone in the roof? And that's the final super chat. And that is a really good question. And that is something we can segue onto now. So I mentioned here before we had these auto poles to hang stuff just out of frame, out of shot. And that's exactly what I've done here as well. This is another auto pole. And what this does is, first of all, it hangs this light. And this is really good because I can turn that light to shine on that stage. So we've got a really versatile light here. This is an awesome light, by the way. I don't know if it's still available, but it is called that. And this is one of my longest serving lights. I've had it for like 3 or 4 years. It does different colors as well, and the battery lasts really long as well. And again, we're using these clamps. These clamps to attach to the auto pole and to the light, and then just a selfie stick, really, keeping it in place. Right, so microphones, why are they hung up here? It's basically so that when you're recording, the idea is the microphone is there and you want to film just so it's out of shot. And you want your microphone as close to your mouth as possible, like here, but I guess for aesthetics, typically I like the microphone not to be seen. So you give that sense of good quality audio without seeing the magic behind it. So that's why I have microphones hung up from these auto poles. And to now show you these microphones, they are, is there a good way to show you what they are? It is a Rode NTG microphone. I think they're called Rode NTG. And the reason I picked these is because 3.5mm cable. So it plugs directly into the camera with no need for a preamp or like external power. They do need power. And so you have to recharge them maybe every 3 or 4 months. So they last forever. And they've just got some more controls on there as well. They're really versatile. I found them excellent microphones and I've had them for 3 or 4 years. So yeah, I have one here. I also have one here and one down there. And I'll explain more about that one in a moment. To tell you again about these auto poles, I think now's a good time to demonstrate this. The problem a lot of creators have is space. And so what these do is free up space. Because previously, the struggle I had with filming was these things. They are really good for having stuff like microphones and cameras, like these stand-up tripods, but they just consume space everywhere. And I just have these up at the moment because I have the room to play with and I'm experimenting with whether to use, where's the microphone? This microphone here or this microphone for shorts. But in my previous space, like these just took up half a room and it was so frustrating. And you're going to see soon an even better version of how these auto poles can potentially work. So yeah, this is temporary. Like I have had this ring light previously attached to the auto pole up here, but it wasn't in the right place. So this thing is kind of working that now. Okay, what I want to show you next is why I have a microphone down here, because some eagle-eyed watchers of vidIQ may have realized that not only do I have this view of this scene, but if I have this little stool here, put it down there, sit down, I also have this view. And I think this view allows me just a different presence on camera. I feel as if it's more intimate and I kind of lean into the camera when I'm talking to it. So in order to make this work, we have a camera right here on the floor pointing up at me to try and get this angle. Yes, it is on the Guinness Book of World Records 2024 because I needed a flat surface for this little tripod to stand on. And it wasn't going to work without this. And that took about a week to figure out. And then we've also got another ring light here, which should make me look nice and pretty like that. And finally, we have the microphone. So this microphone just sits here. It would be usually plugged into a camera. This is the only filming scene I think I have at the moment, which is a position where you see the microphone. Everywhere else it's kind of hidden just off of camera. But yeah, this has worked for now. When I tried to hang it above here, this is where we got to a problem of reverb, I think, because When I sit down here, I'm so far away from the ceiling that I think that creates a reverb. And so I just have to have this as close to my voice as possible to avoid the echo and the reverb. And so that is the final filming scene in this room. And we also have just a bit more Rob Wilson nerdy stuff, some wrestling belts, because I'm a big wrestling fan. Next question comes from, what do the covers on ring lights do? Oh, right. So, yeah, I don't know if this works, to be honest. So on this one, you have like this plastic coating over the light, and that diffuses the light a little bit, so it's less harsh. Hopefully gives you a softer look. And after doing some YouTube searching, I was told that if you got a shower curtain and put it over, like a really thin one from a dollar store, and put it over the ring light, that would diffuse the light even more. I don't know if it works that much, but it was just a little thing that I added to the light. It doesn't make it any worse, so I've kept it on there. So I think, looking around the studio, I'm going to just give you like a 360 now, as I look at my list and make sure to check that I've covered everything. And I have almost covered everything. There are 2 things that are left to talk about. So well done, Rob, for keeping the sheet. Cameras. What cameras do I use on the regular here at vidIQ? I use these. And these are Panasonic G7s and with the kit lens. Anybody who's really into their photography and video equipment might sneer or like ridicule me for having a Panasonic G7, because these are old cameras at this point. I think this was released in 2015 or 16, so it is a 8, 9, 10-year-old camera. But I'll give you some reasons why I use this camera, which are absolutely clutch for me. First of all, when you record and you want to take your SD card out of the camera, usually what you have to do is go underneath it and open that door and get your card out, which I don't have at the moment. A lot of cameras are designed in such a way that this door is covered by the tripod. And that is infuriating for me, because I do a lot of recording where I film, take out the SD card, edit, then put the SD card back in the camera. Like, I don't film for an entire day. I film for like 20 minutes, then edit, then film for 20 minutes. So to have to take this camera off this tripod all the time would be infuriating. So this is why I use a Panasonic G7 for one thing. The second thing is, as soon as you press record on this camera, it starts recording. And there are a lot of other cameras that I've used, including the Canon M50 and the Sony ZV-1, whereby you press record and there is a delay of half a second to a second before it starts recording. And then when you stop recording, there's another half a second, 2 seconds, where it's kind of writing data to the camera, or it's doing something. And what I often do is press stop and immediately pull up the SD card. I've got into that habit. And so for any other camera, sometimes I stop recording, and then I corrupt the recording because I'm too fast. But these are super sharp and they're relatively inexpensive. And the thing on the top here is a remote control. So this allows me to start the camera from a distance. And that's just some command strips, so that I've stuck it together like so. One more thing I want to talk about in this room, although I could talk about it in the other room. These things. Not the little tripod, it's this Ulanzi quick release thing. These have been invaluable for me once I discovered them and started using them about 2-3 years ago. I'll try and demonstrate, but it's going to be really hard with one hand. So if I unplug this, instead of having to unscrew equipment from ball heads and stuff like that, this has its own quick release. So yeah, how do I do this? That's how easy it was to pull off. You probably didn't see that properly because I can't do it with one hand. But if I go here now and press it in, I knew this wasn't going to work live. All right, let me demonstrate properly. Because you'll say, well, that's rubbish, Rob. Why are you showing me something that doesn't work? So I'm going to demonstrate how it's supposed to work, okay? Do we have this camera there? That's how quickly it connected. And then if I want to take it off, there, that's how quickly it was to disconnect it from one tripod and then just smack it onto another one in seconds. It brings you into an ecosystem. You have to buy like 10 of these to make it worthwhile. But once you have them all, it saves so many seconds when you're dealing with camera equipment. These are about $20, so they can be expensive. But if you just progressively buy them over time, they are really good. Whew. Right, I think this is the conclusion of this studio. So I'll just check if there's any super chats and if there's any questions, Vicky, that you've seen, if you want to bring up. And I'm going to try and answer this one. Hang on. So this is one that you found. Use a metal plate in the back, and when 2D printing, make room for insert super strong magnets to them. I'm not sure what you're trying to tell me there. Are you trying to get me to how to put them on the wall? Sorry if I'm reading that wrong. Again, I'm wearing the worst glasses to try and read from a mobile phone. The super chat here is from Palette Fortress. Have you improved your green screen setup from how you did it years ago? Well, I gave up on my green screen setup because it just never looked good and it was never going to look good. It is so hard to get the lighting right on a green screen and then not have green at the edge of your face and stuff. And I think the software in editing tools has got good enough now whereby you can just cut me out of this scene. Like our editors do that on a very regular basis now. They'll just cut me out of a scene. That was the last. Was that the last super chat, or is there another one? There looks to be another one here. Who did all of your setup? Me. This is just over time and experience. I've learned all of these little things to get the studio working the way I want to. And I will stress, by no means is what I call this a professional setup. This is a typical passionate creator's enthusiasm and build-up of knowledge. I'm sure if I brought in a professional, they could make it look better than this and have it be more efficient. But that's kind of been part of the joy and the fun, putting it together myself. So yeah, all of this has been put together pretty much by myself over a long period of time. Like a lot of this stuff came back with me from Canada, and then I've just built up more stuff after that. Any more questions? Oh, there's one more here. From one Jurassic Park and Captain American fan to another, keep up the good work. I'm not necessarily a Jurassic Park fan. I'm just astonished that Dan still hasn't seen the original film. And now I've got the theme tune ticking away in my head. So I do hope during Dan's R&R, he has watched Jurassic Park finally. We'll find out. Anyway, we're going to move on to the next room. Oh my goodness, yes. This is just Studio One, folks. Just Studio One. Hello from Dominic. Rob, good job and keep up the good work. This is for you, thanks. That's appreciated. Thank you very much. Oh.
I think he's dead. Are you dead?
Did you die? I'm not dead. I'm not dead. Here is the trouble with doing it on a phone, whereby if I try and swipe something, I actually swipe to this home screen, and it just did that and threw me out. Hey, Travis, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
Right, you need to put yourself off screen if you can. And now I'm getting a lot of echo. I can hear myself, which I couldn't before. So is there echo now on the live stream?
Yeah, but it's not me because when I pull myself completely off, I still hear it.
Whoa! I can hear myself twice. I can hear Travis twice. Panic. Yeah, echo. All right, Travis, throw yourself out for a bit until you can fix that. I think you may have to throw yourself completely out. If you leave, I'm almost certain the echo will disappear. I'll tell you what might fix it actually though. Give me a second. Right. No, that didn't fix it. Yeah, Travis, you'll have to leave the stage, I think.
I did leave, and the echo didn't go anywhere. It's not me.
Oh, hang on, it might be me then. Right,
yeah,
Travis.
That's what I'm saying.
You stay on.
Okay.
And just talk to the audience. I think I know how to fix this because we encountered this yesterday.
All right. Oh, look at that. It has happened before. It's not my fault, everybody. I swear. It's not me. Anyway, hope y'all are doing well. I just woke up a good 20 minutes ago. And unfortunately, where I live, our garbage comes once every 2 weeks. I don't know why. And I missed it. So now I've got recycling that's once a month. This month. It's going to be a very, very bad month. Hope everyone cares about that. Hello?
Hello, I think it's working now. I don't think there's any echo.
Hey.
Yeah, that's good. That's good work. How are you, Travis?
Yeah. I'm gonna live through it. I'm just trying to see what you're up to. This is cool. I've never seen this before.
Yeah. So what I've basically done is I've just done a studio tour of my first studio, and now I'm going to do a tour of my second studio. But the only way this is going to work is if you make me full screen, but if we can still hear you in the background.
Let me see if I think I might know that. If I stop my cam and then have it.
It's just like you do me on a solo layout.
I have to. I think I have to pull myself off. Wait.
There.
Oh, there you go.
So there you go. So I can still hear you, but we've got a full view of the camera. Do you have any questions on this room before I move on?
Oh, I haven't seen that light before. That's one on the top left corner.
This one?
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
You've not seen the neon light that's in every single vidIQ video?
It must be off in the top corner. I just don't pay it. I look at your lovely face all the time, so maybe I'm just not.
So if I go back, does that now look familiar?
No.
So it's clear that Travis doesn't watch any of my videos.
I watch some of them.
All right. Anything else?
No, I mean it's a dope room. I think it's amazing.
All right. So let's move on to the other room. I'm going to point my camera at the bottom because I don't want to be doxxed. So I'm not showing anything of my house.
Oh, I know that carpet. I know exactly where you live.
Oh, what's this?
Oh,
who is this? Who is this? It's Jasper. Hello, Jasper. How are you? How are you? This is my dog. This is the mascot who never appears on camera because he doesn't behave that often. But since it's his house, it's his rules. Go on, Jasper, bed. This will be really cute if he gets in his bed and look at that. he's like a little croissant in the bed. All right, clear off. Right, Studio 2. This is some of my outfits. And in we go. This room is, I would say, considerably larger than the studio room, because in here we also have to, I have to film and edit everything as well. So we're probably going to be covering even more in this room. And this is kind of like the corner view. And the first thing I'm going to show you is my literal wardrobe. I have lots of shirts here because that's basically this is kind of like my school uniform for the week. I have all of my stuff, all my shirts here, and so The one I kind of like to wear is, let's see if we can get this to look okay on camera. That's the kind of the esports vidIQ shirt. And you never see this on camera, but kind of like as a squad number, I'm squad number 1 of 10. I thought that was a nice little thing that I did on that shirt. Question here from Slavsgard Manga. Do you have your live slider on Mr. Rob? I don't even know what that question means. Live slider. And also just a blast from the past. I want to show this to you, Travis, as one of the shirts that's now kind of in the vidIQ archives. That was a dope shirt that we used to have. And more from the wardrobe here. All right. This is seen on a blue wall. This was the one I used most when I first moved into the office because it was the only one that I had set up. I used to have the gold play button here. And when I do film here again, I will have a gold play button. For now, it just has an award I made for myself for buying a 3D printer and then printing that out because, well, that's me. More 3D printer stuff. This you will see on many live streams and videos. I'm trying to remember exactly what it's called. It's, I think, a Divoom Pixu 64 because it has 64 pixels along the top and the bottom to create this look. Sometimes you'll see Savage's face on it or 1 of 10 or like a spinning YouTube logo. Often I like to have this visualizer. So the visualizer is in queue with what I'm saying. I think that was about $100. More 3D printed stuff here. And then we have another one of these auto poles I was talking about last time, which has so many lights attached to it. This one has a light just to add a bit of glow to the back here. And then we also have a ring light. And the light that you saw in the other room, kind of a long one, the Ugano thing, I also sometimes clip it here. So this is one of these clamps with nothing in it. So you just spin that round and then clamp whatever you need to, along with another selfie stick. So all of these simple pieces of equipment that, if you just think how to use them in a different way, they can be really handy, really useful. And so this is a good example of where I have the microphone would be plugged in here. The ring light is here, obviously, another light here. Just imagine if all of these were on single stands and tripods. It would just consume all of this room down here, making it impossible to use. So that's why these auto poles are incredibly useful. And then on this one, I have a vertical auto pole. So another one where this now is this camera is attached to this. It's been used as a tripod, but also as a stand for my iPad for scripts, but also as another clamp to put a camera there. And then another microphone could go there. So this cross-section version of auto pole means that it's an unlimited tripod, basically. I could attach as many things as I could possibly want to. It's phenomenal. So I'm going to use this filming space soon. I'm just not sure when. Any questions coming from you, Travis, or anyone else before we move on?
I mean, the fact you have 2 rooms.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very fortunate. And that was one of the things that we agreed on when we moved, in that I wanted a dedicated filming room and a dedicated filming / editing / computer room. And I'm very, very fortunate to have the space. Before I forget, I've just noticed here, so we've got this auto pole, but obviously all of these things need to be powered. And I have these clips. It's not as attractive as drilling holes in the wall and clipping everything really tight, but these ultra long USB-C cables, these are about, whoops, sorry, I'm tapping on comments that I shouldn't be. All of these cables are like 20 foot long. So we just go around the side. So again, when you think about filming, The idea is you miss out all of the stuff on the sides and the edges so that your frame ends up being like that. And it just doesn't cover any of the wires or any of the headphones or anything that might be seen. But yeah, then you end up with mess like this, cables everywhere.
Looks like my area, at least the cable part does.
This was my first thing that I set up, and I thought I would be using it so much more. It's like a dolly pulley system where I have different sheets of paper with different backgrounds. And the idea was that I was going to sit here and do like really serious talks to people. And I used this a lot last year, but I use it nowhere near as much. And we have just a simple light here, and it can just add a nice little color to the background there, like that. But as we can see, we have multiple colors here. So I could, if I want to, have this blue. And the way these work is that this is just like a big roll of paper, and I use these metal weights to pull the paper down so that they don't wrap up and fold up, which is the problem I first had with these. But I thought I was going to use this a lot, and now I hardly ever use it. But again, it's another space to use if I need to. There's evidence of the green screen that I used to have. And there's also an Elgato, I think, green screen here, which, whoops, that's a pillar that's falling down. Well, that's ruined. More trinkets in the background. We have yet more Marvel shields, and this I like to call the vidIQ blue Marvel shield. It's not, I think this was from Captain America Winter Soldier, but it just has the perfect blue on it. Obviously stick on a sticker, so make it vidIQ blue. And then this is more of my 3D printing stuff at work. So I have a plate which is basically about that big. So this is the largest size of 3D print I can do. So I did individual letters for vidIQ and then icons and such. Sounds like we have some questions. So all right then, let's hear these questions before I move on to anything else. I'm just going to check where I am in my list to make sure that I'm not missing anything. Okay, so I have a question here from Shut Up and Go Filming. I love that as a channel name. Hey bro, have you any tips for us to make videos about fishing? Well, I guess all I would say is the complete opposite of everything you're seeing in this video, in that you're going to be wanting to use action cams, GoPro cams, and things that have good battery, and things that have like a good lens, so it doesn't have like blurring things too much. You really caught me. You really caught me on a question I'm going to struggle to answer there, because I don't do much filming outdoors. I guess what I will recommend is one of these, which I've purchased. This is a Lark M2 wireless microphone, and I'm still trying to work out if the audio is really good. It sounds to me like it's a bit compressed and muffled, but it just works. It is amazing how quickly these things work. You take it out of the charging pack, and it immediately connects to the receiver, and then you can use it for hours and hours and hours. And it's quite discreet. This, you probably wouldn't notice it if I'd not pointed it out. And they're relatively inexpensive, about $100 to $150. So I guess that's the best thing I can recommend for filming outdoors. What's the next question, if we have one? Where can we find the custom subscribe cushion in your studio? So you're talking about, is it that one that you're talking about? Amazon. Typically, you can get them on Amazon or Etsy or eBay. Just search for a subscribe pillow, and you'll find one of them, no problem. Next question. Do you ever use daylight in your videos? No, very rarely, because it's an environment that you don't control. So what I find is, because I'm filming for the entire day, if I use sunlight, the scene would look very different when I start filming to when I finish filming at the end of the day. So having artificial light means that it's a lot more controlled. Having said that, it's always a wise idea to get outside of your comfort zone. And this is why I'm doing a live stream right now, just on a mobile phone, and not really trying to care too much about the overall quality of how everything looks. So yeah, I don't use daylight whenever possible, because it is just a big unknown factor. Like if it's super sunny, your face is just going to look like it's melting. If it's cloudy and dark all of a sudden, then you need artificial light to back that up. Next question then here was from, I cannot read that. Is it Rosie? What's the camera called on the stand? Which camera would that be? Is it this one? This is just another Panasonic G7. They're all Panasonic G7s that I use. I think I've got 3 or 4 of them. 3 in that room, 2 in the other room. But as I said, this is the key thing here. It's these Ulanzi quick releases. I can quickly take one camera and put it there. Oh, there is another one as well, but I'll show you where that is soon. Any more questions? Would you know the best affordable lighting for a green screen? I will go back to, oh look, Jasper's still there. I continue to recommend these ring lights. It gives you the broadest amount of light and it's fairly evenly distributed. That is a newer RL18, if you're interested. But again, that's just my personal recommendation. I'm sure professionals may recommend aperture lights or something with a big, is it like a softbox? But I hate big lights because I hate things that take up room. And these are the biggest things I'm willing to put up with. Any other questions? See, we have some super chats I might have to deal with as well. All right. This question is tips for people with glasses who use ring lights. Yeah, I have this problem. I know exactly what you mean.
Same.
Because I think this is probably going to do it. If you have your camera directly in the ring light, it does this. I think maybe you can see this, maybe you can't. It just creates massive ring lights from your glasses. So you have to have it at an angle. So as I'm standing here, the ring light is at an angle pointing down at me. And it's still not perfect. I don't know if this is going to look, if it's going to look any different. Like if I look up a little bit, you'll still be able to see the reflection. And I've just learned to deal with that. It is annoying. You can get glasses which lenses which reflect less of the light. I can't remember what they're called off the top of my head. I got these lenses from a place called, I think, Lensology, and these are pretty good for not reflecting light. It kind of turns it a bit green on the lens if it's reflected. But yeah, I'm trying to remember exactly what the answer is there, but hopefully that was close enough. Any more questions?
I saw a really good question about what inspired you to start your YouTube channel. We talked about this last week on the podcast, and Jen told her story that blew my mind as to why she started her channel. Like, blew my mind because I had no idea this is the reason she started her channel, and the reason behind it is just like you could see it in a movie, and probably you have. Have you ever seen 50 First Dates?
Has that got Adam Sandler in it?
Yeah.
That's why I haven't watched it.
It's a good movie, but you should go watch it on the Boost.
Well, Vicky, did you just show up a question there? Anti-glare glasses. Yeah, that's I guess a good Google search to start with.
Yeah. Crazy story.
There you go. Yeah, so check out the podcast, because I've recently been on that podcast, I think. And
as a matter of fact, on Monday. And if you want to go watch me, Rob, and Jen talk for an hour, it's on the Boost. If you go to the community tab on this channel, there's a link to it. You can watch Rob yap away at us for an hour.
So here's the thing. My door's open. That can only mean one, and Jasper's no longer here. That can only mean one thing. He's stolen something. We'll try and find out what that is later. Right, where were we? We're an hour in, so we're doing well here. And my battery is at 66%, so we should be able to get through this entire live stream. Right, things I've got to show you now. I was covering this 3D printed screen. We have a monitor here, and you're thinking, oh, how's that showing the subscriber count? Because the computer's over there. Well, it's because I have, again, cables that are hidden. This is like a 20-foot HDMI cable that tracks all the way down up through to this monitor. And so now we have to stand here and wait until somebody subscribes, because I'm not doing anything else on this live stream until that number goes up. I mean, Travis can say something, he can contribute, but I'm going silent.
Yeah, you need to slide it in the correct place. The live slider's not on. Do you have a live slider that says you're live?
Oh, I know what they're talking about. But I can't do anything until somebody subscribes.
Someone subscribe real quick.
I've glitched.
Hurry up. So, oh, no!
That ain't going to help.
No, that's not good at all.
Aye.
It was moving the entire time. And then you look at it, nothing happened. Oh, geez. That's not good.
I'm being trolled right now.
What's happening? We're getting canceled.
All right, shall we move on, shall we? They were talking about this, weren't they? Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Oh, I like that.
It's all right. We're good. I think that was from Etsy as well. I remember. There we go. It's going back up a little bit now. Right. So, yeah, I was at one point, again, thinking of having this as a filming scene where I'd use this monitor and just talk about stuff that was on screen. But it just never, it was a scene that didn't work. And so now you see this monitor a lot more in a different scene that I have. And then, again, more behind the scenes stuff. I did have this camera, Sony ZV-1. I used it as my web camera because you could plug it into a computer and use it as a camera, but it broke because this tripod was very unstable. No, I had like a tripod with mini legs, and it fell off that and it broke it. So that's just an expensive ornament now. This is just where I keep all of my like cables and leads. You'll acquire a lot of stuff as a creator over time. So we've got labels. Like, again, being in Canada, I have like 30 different North American plugs here, which I can't use over here. This is my vidIQ stash of glasses. So if you've ever wondered where we have all of the Fug Life stuff. And so this is how I was able to take the lenses out of these as shades and then put in prescription lenses. And that's how these glasses were born. And these all came from conferences and events that we went to a lot before the pandemic. So I had hundreds of these.
You have more Savage glasses than I do.
I do. And then, yeah, again, just more little bits of stuff, clamps. I seem to have an amazing amount of these little ball head tripod things. I don't know if anybody's familiar with that. I think that's one of the oldest props on the vidIQ channel. Not in any scenes these days. Yeah, it is surprisingly more organized than it used to be. When I moved into this place and I had like a clean slate, I told myself, you must be more organized, even though I'm not an organized person. And this is where I think I'm most organized, is with these little toolbox of stuff like, oh, look, more of those ball head tripods. I just have endless amounts of them. Or if I need a command strip to stick anything in, or I need another 3.5mm long cable, or some ZV-1 batteries for a camera that doesn't work. I didn't even realize that. I have loads of AA batteries there. I need to remember that. I've forgotten. And look, it's even warmer in this room. Yeah, these are all my Batcave gadgets. And so, if you remember, I was talking earlier about these quick release things. This is what it looks like. So you have two parts to it. That goes onto your stand, and then that attaches to whatever equipment, and then it just very quickly snaps together, and you move on. Where should we go next? I'll just look at my list, see what I need to do next. I think we need to do the computer desk next. Can you tell me with which camera are you streaming right now? So I am using a Galaxy S23. When Vicky and I were testing this yesterday, we thought it was coming through at 720p, so not very good quality. I don't know if it's better quality today. We tried with an iPhone 15 and we felt like the quality was a little bit better. But yeah, I'm using an S23 because it's has a massive battery. So I started this stream, how long ago? 70 minutes ago, and it's now at 63%. So we should get through the entire stream without needing to charge or anything, which is brilliant. Oh, and another little, I guess, secret cameo, whatever. These are all of the vidIQ certificates, and I printed out all of ours. And I did have these hung up on a wall at one point. I thought I was going to use them, but I never did. So we do have a chronological history of all of our achievements. And I've used these for gifts and other things. Those are all dollar store framed print things. If you remember, this is a few years ago, I dropped one of these on camera thinking nothing would happen, and it shattered on the floor. So that was an interesting blooper. And another thing you'll find in filming rooms is all of these extension cables and leads. Like this is a 4-way USB plug. These are all plugs for different things, and then a 4-way socket. And make sure whenever you buy them, always try and get one which is a surge protector, because you'll have expensive equipment and you don't want to damage any of it. Right then, let's move on to the computer. This workspace looks a bit intimidating, doesn't it? I have my workhorse computer is this Alienware Aurora R7, I think. It's a very old computer at the moment now. This is more than 5 years old. I think it's due to be replaced or an upgrade, because I don't know if you've seen on some of my recent live streams where I will say my screen's just gone blank or whatever. I think that's the computer saying, I'm done, Rob. I've made 1,000 videos for you. Can you give me a rest? So that might get changed or updated soon. We have 2 monitors. This is a 4K monitor for screen recordings, because it gives me a bit more sharpness in the recordings, and it means I can zoom in and out without any issues. This is just a typical video edit for me. This was, I think, last week's YouTube Future Concepts video. And that's just an idea of how complicated I make my edits. This was actually a relatively simple edit, and it took about a day to do, but that's the amount of effort I go to clip things up, add sound effects, graphics, all of that type of stuff there. And then this is a 34-inch widescreen. Both of these are from LG. So look, you can see yourself on chat if you want to send us some emojis or anything right now. A really cool thing these LG computers have, there's probably software you can get for these on Windows for free anyway, but it automatically splits up the screen because it's so wide. So can you see how there was a green box around the Windows there? It automatically separates them up. And then if I make one smaller, this should work, it automatically adjusts the size of the other one, or it's supposed to. And the first time I had that was in an LG monitor, and it's like, oh, shut up and take my money. I love this feature. Logitech, I can't remember what, I think this is a Craft Logitech keyboard. I thought I was going to use this crown thing all of the time for zooming in and volume. Never use it. I have a wireless mouse which has 15 buttons on the side here, or well, 15 buttons in total, and these are all editing shortcuts. So I have like undo, save, import stuff, print screen. Fantastic mice. Really love these. And then maybe we should get into all of the Elgato stuff I have, because I've been sucked into their walled garden of equipment as well. So we have here 2 key lights, but they are controlled by an Elgato Steam Deck, where I press this button, and fingers crossed, they come on. And I can control the brightness of these like that. And yeah, Elgato just makes stuff that works and is all integrated together. So it is expensive, but I recommend Elgato if you can afford their stuff. And I don't know if you'll be able to see this, but this is showing me some information about the live stream. So I could put you all on an advert right now if I wanted to. So sorry, folks, if this puts you on an ad. I pressed it. Maybe you're going to get an ad. I don't know. And we've got what, 200, 250 people watching right now. I like the Stream Deck so much that I got another one, and this is where all of the sound effects come from for 100%. The live stream. So I just use, I think this is the Bose Streamlink 2, quite an old speaker, but very good quality. And so whenever you hear any of the sound effects, it's all coming from this. So that's a Stream Deck for you if you've never seen one of them. There's also this Elgato, I don't know what it's called, but it's like a boom arm for the microphone. And the microphone is, as many people will recommend, a Shure SM7B. Oop, that's not going to work. A Shure SM7B microphone plugged into a Rode Procaster, which is designed to give you like radio broadcast quality audio. I'm still not sure if I've got it working absolutely perfectly, but it does what I need it to do, and it works pretty well there. The camera I usually use for the live streams is this. I think, Travis, you were the one who convinced me to get one of these. Yeah. An Insta360 webcam.
Yeah, I have 2 of those.
Very small. Again, it just works. It gives you a decent quality. I wouldn't say it gives you decent enough quality to use it for recording videos, but it is good for live streams. And then somebody asked me a lot earlier on, do I have a teleprompter? And the answer is, as of a couple of months ago, yes. So this is an Elgato teleprompter, and there's another Panasonic G7 plugged in to make it work. And if I just click on the right thing here, there we go. So we have some text, and I can get that to scroll up and down if I want to, but usually what I do is I just have a block of text and I'll record that block of text, then stop recording, and then record again another block of text. And I don't know, can you tell if I use a teleprompter? I only use it on this scene. So yeah, this is the scene I tend to use when I want the best quality audio and I'm reading from a script. But if it's something more loose and free, that's when I'll use the other studio. So this is probably a scene that you've seen quite a lot on the channel as well, whereby we have that monitor in the background, these 3D print icons here, and then maybe a bit of shelving over to that side as well. Any questions about the computer setup then, or anything generally around here? This question comes from Park Bros. Do you like using your Stream Deck for sound effects more than using it in the Rodecaster? Yeah, because For the Rodecaster, these are the buttons you can use for changing your voice or sound effects, but I can't remember what any of them do. Whereas on here, because I can assign like a graphical icon, then I know that this is Savage throwing up, or this is me saying, oh, it's not going to work because that button is tied into Streamlabs, so I can't use that at the moment. What I can use, though, I forgot to mention, I have an Elgato foot pedal. So there's 3 buttons down here that I can use. So does that one turn on the lights? Yes. So this one here, I'll do it again. That one turns on the lights. I don't know why I've got a button there and a pedal there. Maybe that's just flexing. And that one, the middle one, changes the camera angle on the live stream. So I have a camera angle there and a camera angle here on the live stream, and I'll just use that button. And if I press the other pedal, yes, it gives me that sound effect. So yeah, I prefer to use the Stream Deck for sound effects. Thanks for the question. Can you recommend a good microphone? So I would say this is the best microphone I've ever had because of the broadcast quality you get, but it is very expensive. It's about $350, but then you've got to get something that's can handle XLR and plug into a computer. And the Rodecaster here was about $600. So it's not for everybody. If I was to just recommend a microphone to get you started, I'm just going to default to what I used for a while, which is the Blue Yeti. That served me for a couple of years. Travis, what would you recommend microphone-wise of a decent budget?
It depends on the budget. There's a lot of options. I currently use the Rodecaster and Procaster combo, but that doesn't mean you need to do that. There's tons of great USB mics out there, but don't just buy any USB mic. There's a bunch of YouTube videos with reviews of them, and even some in the same price range can sound dramatically different. So just type in like, what's the best USB mic for YouTube? And you will find tons of videos that will go over some of the best mics for the least amount of money.
I guess what I could just quickly mention is, if you switch back to me, this microphone I was talking about before, the Rode ATG, that can obviously plug into a camera, but it also has a USB-C. So that would double up as an acceptable microphone on the computer.
Totally.
Next question. If we have one.
What's your #1 tip for your channel? Mic drop. That's a cool name. Your tip is that name is great.
That's it. Yeah. Maybe get a better mic because you just dropped the one you were using.
Yeah, potentially broken.
But yeah, I think as I mentioned at the beginning of this live stream, try and keep your questions studio focused so we can better answer them in the stream if possible. What's another question? Thanks, Rob. Would you want more space? So I thought when I moved into space, I was like, this is brilliant, but I want even more space. But now I think I'm satisfied and I'm happy with the space that I have. And if I really wanted more space, then I would probably just repurpose that area. I think what I'm is a workspace. You know, I showed the table at the very beginning when I used it to film my mobile phone. I'd like a bigger table and workspace there, but beyond that, I don't think I need more space. Obviously, if there was an opportunity to have more space, I would take it, but given the cost, that would be, it's just probably not worth it now. Rob, what's a ballpark overall investment on the studio equipment? I would say, but this is over like a 10-year period at this point. We're definitely into 5 figures. Probably, I'd say in the region of $15,000 to $20,000 for everything. But as I say, that's been spread out over 10 to 15 years at this point. So you're probably looking at maybe $50 to $100 a month buying and acquiring stuff. And then when you think about it, how much I actually use of this, the thousands of dollars I've spent, probably half of it, if not less. Because you buy stuff thinking, yeah, this is the thing that's gonna, this is gonna be the thing that takes my content to the next level, and it just isn't. Whereas other things that you didn't realize were going to be amazing just turn out to be transformative. Again, I'm going to keep going back to it, but these these quick release and these clamps, which are like $20 a pop, those were like and the auto pole solution, the game changers. And just before I forget, actually, this is a shower curtain pole. So again, it has tension where you just twist it and it'll eventually kind of stick to the walls, no drills required, but obviously it carries a lot less weight. So I've only got one light fixed to that. But if you can't afford these auto poles, you'll start off with something cheaper. These, again, they were from Amazon. I can't remember exactly what they were called, but like shower curtain tension rods, I think. Okay. The next question is, ever use ceiling attachment cameras for auto tracking? I do a lot of moving around in my space. Want to be able to move around without resetting the camera over and over again. So I do follow that sentiment of having to pack down, and when you finish recording, you've got to put everything away, which is why I ended up with these permanent fixtures, because I never have to move any of this, because it takes up, I mean, that is a footprint it takes up. And so, yeah, having fixtures in ceilings and walls would probably be a good thing. I'm not following completely the auto tracking, unless you're meaning, again, this is a 3.5mm jack that's just ready to plug a microphone in, and that's just wrapped around the auto pole to plug into the camera. I'm sorry if I'm misinterpreting your question there, but you are right in that you want to have a setup whereby you literally just turn on your lights and your camera, and then you can start immediately recording. And that's what I've gone for as much as possible in my setup. And I'm just blessed to have that space to be able to do that. How much weight can a tension poles hold? I think these, you would have to Google search it, but I think we're talking between maybe 10 and 15 kilograms quite easily. Like I can pull down on this pretty comfortably, and these have been now up for about 18 months. Never had any problem with them, and you can feel or you can see like the tension they put. There's probably going to be a mark here if I removed the pole, but it is locked in a lot. This one, I wouldn't trust it nowhere near as much, because it's not designed to be used to hold weights or only the weight of a shower curtain. So basically probably talking about 2 or 3 kilograms. But yeah, these 10 to 15 kilograms probably quite easily. Do you use Audacity or Audition for voiceover? I do use Audacity. I've had that for a long time, just as a program to have in a background. But I've never used Audition. And yeah, I am a bit, I guess when it comes to quality control, because I record directly from the microphone into the camera, so I don't have to audio sync anything in post, I try and eliminate process and workflows as much as I can. And you know, that is sometimes to the detriment of quality, but for me, I prefer that because I don't get bogged down in the process. But I am aware of Audacity, and I've used it on occasion. I'll just maybe throw this question to Travis, to you, because I know you do podcasting. Are you any more into the audio side of things using software?
When I do anything like that, where I'm doing audio editing, I use Audacity specifically. But the reason for that is I've been using it for years. So, you know, learning something else just doesn't make sense for me.
It's one of those, the only audio program you ever need if you're going up to a certain level of proficiency is Audacity, because it's completely free.
Yeah, that's what it comes down to.
How are we doing on questions? Are black curtains a professional looking background? I think that's entirely up to our own interpretation and a subjective opinion. I wanted to have lights in my background, but I wanted to have different look. So, you know, we have the vidIQ branded blue, but also in the other studio, you can see the black that I use with lighting. I think if you use a black curtain, at least it gives you a canvas with which you can build upon by adding lights and such, and it gives you that certain element of control. But as you can see, I often try and complicate my backgrounds by having shelving and lights. But you know, that is the example of where if I just want to have something super clean, that's what I'd use. What type of camera for new YouTubers? I think it's pretty simple and obvious for me. Whatever phone you have. If you've got a phone that's like $300-400 or more, that will be more than adequate to get you started. The more important thing is this right here. It's the audio. And so I would invest in a wireless microphone for your camera. If you do want to upgrade to a DSLR, again, it's going to come down to personal preference. So I'm going to recommend the Panasonic G7 because that's what I use and I've used for many years, and it just does everything I need. But I'm sure Travis would give you a different answer for what camera to use. Which would be, Travis?
I mean, your phone is definitely your best bet right now because it beats a lot of lower end cameras that are out there. At least most phones made in the last couple of years beat most cameras for the same price. But you know what? You'd be surprised at what you can get secondhand. That could be really good.
The challenge you have with a mobile phone is because I'm having this trouble right now, is I'm having to switch round, and now I can't see myself because there's no viewfinder on the main camera. And obviously, if you use a selfie side of a camera, then it's an even lower quality lens,
right,
for filming. But I can't remember ever seeing a single comment that has complained about the video quality, where I have had sometimes questions about the audio quality. And so that's a testament to how important audio is over video. Rob, can you explain a basic setup to go live right now? I use my phone to record my videos. So you meaning what I'm doing right now? I'm using a phone. I'm also using the thing that I showed you earlier, which is this Lark M2. So that thing is plugged into the phone, and then this is the microphone that I'm using. I'm also been using this light on top of a tripod to shine on anything bright that I need to. And if I just take that off, that's the tripod I've been using for the last hour and a half. Very simple setup. And I've been using, and this is the first time we've used this on a mobile phone, or I've just used StreamYard, and it is working, I would say, incredibly well to show the questions on screen. I had that one problem where I accidentally went out of the stream and then came back in, and I heard myself twice. That was a technical glitch, but for going live, this is like the very basic setup. Going live on my computer, that, as I mentioned earlier, that's the camera I use, along with this microphone, this Rodecaster Pro, the Stream Deck, the lights, and then again, I'm using StreamYard, a browser-based live streaming program, which is excellent. There's also others. Restream is another one. So that would solve that problem. Well, that's what we use. Teleprompter essentials. Make sure you buy a teleprompter that fits your lens, because the Panasonic G7 is a micro 4/3 lens, which means that It doesn't fit perfectly. I'm just really lucky that it fits on the plate and it doesn't show any reflection when it's coming through. I'm not sure what other basics I can say other than the Elgato prompter, because what this is, if I show you another bit, it's actually a display. So it's also, this is plugged into a computer. So it's a monitor as well. I could use it for anything I wanted to, but it also has the teleprompter tools available. But it is expensive. There are many teleprompters you can get on Amazon which have their own software, but I've not found any of them. But you have to use a mobile phone as your prompting equipment. So you have the mirror set up here, but then this monitor doesn't exist. You have to use your phone. I'm still learning about teleprompters, if I'm honest. But I feel as if it has added something to my video making. What do we got next? Do you use acoustic panels? We were asked this question very early on. Yes, so we have more acoustic panels here. So one directly, essentially all of these are above my speaking positions. And each of these was about, I don't know, $40 for a pack of 12, 15. Again, I'm not sure how well they work, if I'm honest. And now I've stood up, I've just remembered that I haven't showed you like the current background. So these are all now 3D printed stuff. I've got slightly different things, so the thumbs up, monetization, more vidIQ logos. This is 3D printed as well. And I got really jealous when Dan bought his, I don't know, what would you call them, the spider lights? So I bought my own. No, it's not there. But you hardly ever see them on stream, on videos and streams. Because Dan set up in a much more interesting way. Well, those are some lights there I forgot to mention earlier. Have we dealt with all the super chats? I guess we are. I guess, Victoria, you're just starring all of the questions that are of interest. What inspired you to give a studio tour today? So I don't know if you heard at the very beginning, Dan is still on hiatus. He'll be back soon. But I've been finding the live streams really hard to do just by myself. It's always better when you have somebody to bounce off of. And I knew Travis was going to join this stream at some point, but it's very early in the morning for him. vidIQ is a global team. So whereas it's 3 p.m. for me when I start the live stream, it's 7 a.m. for Travis, which is a bit early to ask him to start. And so Dan and I have been this tag team for many years. And I just felt like doing something different today. It's a bit of a risk, being a bit vulnerable, trying something new. You know, the channel audits will return next week. And so, yeah, I just want to try something new. And I think you should always be open to doing that because your channel's not made of glass. It looks as if this live stream hasn't performed as well as our channel audits, but that's fine. That's okay. I accept that. This is something that may have more evergreen potential in it. And we'll return to our audits next week. And of course, John will be doing his thumbnail audits tomorrow. What else have we got? Really appreciate the peek behind the curtain today. Very helpful to a lot of creators. You're welcome. Yeah, as I say, we as creators need to be, I'm not going to say self-indulgent, but we shouldn't fall into routines and patterns and just do that all of the time. Like, even if you're aware that something might not work properly, you know, this has been a really good learning experience. It's proven to me that I can do almost like a walk and talk. And I don't have to rely on like everything being perfect, like the lighting being spot on and all of the setup of the computer being absolutely perfect. I could just walk around the office and talk to you as an audience. You know, maybe I'll do that in a future Q&A where I'm just casually walking around this studio, answering questions. So yeah, I appreciate that. That's it, Victoria says. That is it. That is the rest of the questions. So I appreciate your time, everybody, for sticking around for 90 minutes plus. Travis, if you want to just put yourself on screen for a bit, and
Sure.
I'm going to go and try and find Jasper.
Yeah. Okay.
So if you hide
walking.
for a moment.
I'm curious what the dog walk stream would look like what's going on over there. So hey everyone, I do want to point out, if you love talking or hearing Rob talk about just kind of all types of YouTube things, I highly recommend checking out The Boost. This week he was on the podcast. You can listen to it either in audio form or on YouTube. We have a YouTube channel here on YouTube. I'll put a link here in chat real quick because it's great, and it's one of my favorite podcasts we've done so far. We got a lot of questions from people. Yeah, there, Calvin put it on there. Appreciate it. If you scroll down, you see the videos, the YouTube Shorts and Copyright, you'll see Rob's face there. We took a bunch of emails, which we do on The Boost. People can send emails to us, and I think we found Doggy.
Yeah, so this is Jasper in his favorite space. He has a shirt, but look how he's reacting, right?
He's like, listen, that's my shirt.
That you can you see it? Can you see him starting to snarl a bit? He does not want me to touch this shirt, but he's a good boy.
Love it.
Yeah, I'm not going anywhere near that shirt. All right, you can take me off camera again. I'm going to show you one more thing, but I need to go and show it.
All right, just take him off. This week's Boost VOD was really great to hear. It's good. Yeah, it was lots of fun. And the cool thing about that particular format is we take emails from people who are listeners to the podcast. And I can tell you right now, last week was like we had the most kind of emails all in one pile. We already have surpassed that this early in the week. So next week is going to be just Q&As. It's crazy. Oh yeah, the pro setup. What a crazy pro setup. I think Rob is ready to show us, but I can't really tell because this does not look like something he would want to show us, but I don't know. Oh, okay. He's still going outside. Okay. We'll wait until he gets to where he needs to get to. Yeah, there's a really cool setup here for $0 that I was talking to John about this video, and he incredibly creative, really cool looking setup. Great link there. Check that video out. Great stuff. And of course, the vidIQ Discord, which is there as well. There's also a Discord for people who have Boost or One-on-One, which is really great. Okay, he's ready to go.
All right, so if you want to put me on full screen, somebody asked at the very beginning, I think, of the stream to see the 3D printer setup. So I have this in my garage because I think 3D printers can print off a lot of fumes and they can be toxic. So this is an A1 printer, and it can do 4 colors at once. So that's why I can print maybe like a gold play button or something. And these are all the spools of filaments. And here's all of the other colors that I have at the moment, and more to use. And an interesting thing about a 3D printer is every time it changes color, it has to get rid of the, so like, let's say red and gold are on the same layer of an object. It needs to literally poop out the old color. So you get all of these little balls of plastic, and that's how, I think it's called like a slinger. That's how these printers work. And then you have all of this. Like this is a print that went wrong once, and a gold play button that didn't survive the print. So yeah, that's the current 3D printer setup. You can take me off screen again now. Thank you.
That's pretty awesome stuff. I've requested a Savage Face 3D print that he says he thinks he might be able to do. I think that'd be. Let's put a 1 in the chat if you want to see a Savage 3D print in the back of his studio in live streams coming up in the not too distant future. I think 1's in the chats. Acknowledge him. Okay. All right. Yeah, we have 1 more, and that's all we needed. We only needed the 1. Oh, -1. So now we're at 0. No, we're at +1. Look at that. All that. That's right. That's right. Acknowledge him. He shall return when Dan comes back for sure. All right. I think Rob is Rob's in a good place now. Bring him back on.
In the studio now, if you want to put me on. So, I mean, if you want, Travis, I can come back onto the stream on the computer and we can do some Q&A for 15 minutes.
Let's do it.
Or we can call it time here.
No, let's do a couple minutes. So these people have been, these are the hardcores. So why not?
So I will be with you again very soon. We're going to stop using the phone, and you can see how with StreamYard and the way I have everything set up, it will transition nicely onto me just talking to you from the computer. I'm shattered. I just had to walk up and down some stairs. Right, I'll be back soon.
All right, sounds good.
Take me off screen.
All right, this is what happens when you get old. I'm telling you, as someone who knows. All right, let's get some of these questions. What's this say? I am in a pinch. What should I do with a small niche? What should I do with a small niche? What should you do with it? You should own it. You should go out there and kick butt. Just be the one. Be the whole one. Be all of the niche. You become the niche. Good morning from my location. Nice to see you. Today's the first time to see you. Well, it's very nice to see you. Map visibility. Very nice to see you. What's the best time to upload to YouTube? This is actually really a lot easier than you might think. If your content is evergreen, doesn't matter. Upload it whenever the heck you feel like it. If it's a live stream or if it is a a news centric video that will only last in relevance for a short amount of time, ASAP. Live streams, you should try to figure out what time your viewers are on. But if it's like news, as soon as you can. Let's see. 15 minutes of channel reviews of the hardcore. I don't know. Maybe we'll see what happens when he comes back. We'll see. I don't know. Yeah. He was huffing and puffing. Let's see. Do you think Rob needs to make 3D figures off the video? That's actually a great idea. And I will ask him about that. That's phenomenal. What's the best price for a gaming setup? You mean like a gaming PC? Or you mean I think consoles are going to be the cheapest way to get into that so that you can stream. But PCs are going to be the most versatile. A good PC gaming rig it's close to the price of a console, but you can get consoles on sale. So you're probably still right now better off with a console. However, I mostly now game on my PC. I'm at the stage where I'm wondering if I should narrow down my channel. It's 1/3 movie reviews, 1/3 movie unboxings, 1/3. Yeah, I feel like worst case scenario, that's 2 channels. Movie unboxings and movie reviews. Probably you might be able to get away with putting them on the same channel. Soundtrack unboxings could be its own channel.
Hey. Well, there we are. I've warped from the mobile phone to. So if you remember, I'm going to press the pedal that you saw earlier.
Oh,
give me that. So like switch from one to the other. But look, no hands. Switching
Too fancy.
angles.
Too fancy. Terrible.
So good.
All right. So some people wanted a 15-minute audit shotgun quickly stream. Some people wanted, which I thought this was a good idea, for you to print out little characters of the vidIQ live stream people, like little 3D print those little characters out.
Right.
What we have to do is we have to get a cartoonist to make cartoon versions of us and then have you 3D print them.
I mean, it's not implausible. It'd take a while. It'd be expensive and it'll take a while, but sure. Sure, why not?
That'd be fun. Let's see. How to build can you make 2 what is this? Can you make 2 channel on this? Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Here we go. You have any advice for a faceless joke channel that uses various avatars to tell jokes, but I do music and puzzles on there, but it's mostly jokes.
Okay.
All right. Every time Leron used to say, every time you use the word "and," you lose people.
I thought it was you who said that, but
no, that was a Leron
point.
I stole it from him. Every time you use "and," you lose a person. So the example was, I do gameplay and how to and painting, and like every time you use an "and," you're losing a bunch of people. So just kind of consider that when you're making your stuff. Should you focus on a niche starting out or just testing with different types of videos? Oh, this is a good question. What do you think, Rob?
Should you focus on a niche? So I think there's 3 ways to look at this, right? Well, I think there's 3 steps. I always say, to begin with, if you're starting a YouTube channel, you want to find out whether you enjoy being a creator. making videos, being on a platform, because wanting to be a YouTuber and actually doing it are two very different things. And I would say for the first 3 to 6 months, no pressure from anyone. I'm not going to pressure you as an educator. I don't want the audience to pressure you as a content creator to make specific content. But after 3 to 6 months, 25 videos, you'll have an inkling, you'll have an idea of what you like to watch against what your audience likes to watch. And you want to listen to what that audience is saying to you. And then I would say for the next 3 to 6 months, you do niche down into a particular topic. You become the master, the ambassador, the representative on YouTube for that niche as powerfully as you can, whilst not forgetting who you are and your personality, and kind of adding story elements into the videos where you can. It's almost like an A story and a B story. The A story is the value of the content to the audience. The B story is kind of letting the audience in a little bit into who you are. And that should allow you to not only have a niche, but also allow you to be a little indulgent with how you present that content and inject your own personality into it. There's a big TLDR there, but I'm not sure what it is.
No, that's good. Well thrown out. Well said. Let's see. Can I get monetized by uploading shorts about shows, movies?
If they're transformative enough.
Yeah, but the thing is, you're putting your interpretation of that you transformed it into someone who gets alerted to look up your channel and says should just be monetized or not. And if they see a whole bunch of movies and TV shows, they may not monetize it, even if technically by the rules, because you got to remember, ultimately this is done by humans, right? So that they can make mistakes. If you make it difficult for someone to understand whether or not it should be monetized, they just probably won't monetize, because they don't want to monetize a channel that shouldn't be monetized. So you should consider that. All right, how about this? Small question. I have 2 and more different niches for my channel, but YouTube focused only on one. Well, I think your viewers have focused only on one. Yeah. I want to cover more topics, gaming, but I want to let people to get known with me, not only niche. I think what they're saying is they want people to like them over the niche. And that's the right way to do YouTube.
Ultimately, that's where you want to be.
Right. But it's hard.
It is hard.
But you have to, so it's weird. You have to start off with getting people into your ecosystem of videos, right? By doing the topic, whatever the topic is, whatever the thing is, whatever your niche passion. Right. Once they're in, then you start showing your personality while giving them the information or entertainment they're looking for. And if you have the spark and the connection, then they'll come back for you. But that's very difficult. It doesn't mean it's impossible, but it is difficult.
It's that X factor. It's that magnetic personality. And I think I would say probably 90% to 95% of creators who are successful are like really good at being passionate about their topic and subject and sharing it with an audience. But that last 5% or 1% just also have that extra, I can't call it anything else other than that magnetism, that personality. Like, I don't think I have it. I haven't developed it yet. I don't know how to speak to an audience beyond like my passion of YouTube education. Although today's was kind of an experiment in trying to go beyond that.
This is a good one. I would love to answer this on the boost, to be honest. When an Oprah, I think they meant opera. When an opera singer wants to perform in a concert hall, he practiced for years before going on stage. Why do you recommend to practice on stage when you start a YouTube channel? Maybe they mean where? It says why do you recommend it going? Maybe where do you recommend it going on stage before going?
I think I understand what they're saying. Like, professional basketball player, an athlete, or a professional singer, they plow like tens of thousands of hours into their craft before anyone sees it. The difference is with YouTube is that it's almost like a level playing field. Like, you are already playing in the biggest concert hall in the world when you are on YouTube, because your thumbnail video could appear next to Mr. Beast. And I would say, like, don't let that pressure you. Like, YouTube has democratized, I guess, distribution of content.
you can broadcast to an audience of billions with a phone and a Wi-Fi connection for free. And just imagine being able to do that 30 years ago, like even 15 years ago, before YouTube existed. You just couldn't do it. So, I mean, sure, if you want to practice in isolation outside of YouTube, nobody's stopping you. But the power of YouTube is that it gives you instant feedback all of the time on everything you do. And I was one of those people years ago who just craved that opportunity to be seen. Like I used to be a creative writer, and none of my stuff ever got read by anybody because there wasn't a booktube per se. Like I couldn't write my stuff and have anybody see it. But then YouTube came along and it allowed video distribution on a different level. And I went from being read by maybe my friends and my families and my teacher to random people all over the world seeing my content. And even if it was just a couple of hundred people, that made such a massive difference to my development creatively.
Love it. This is a great question. Should I keep enjoying what I do for my small loyal fans and not worry about low subs, or try to change for the masses?
Ooh, all right.
So I will tell you this, as someone who has his own personal silver play button, and as someone who has helped channels with millions of subscribers get millions and tens of millions of views, the thing that's been one of the most gratifying creative stretches that I've had have been two small channels: my Travis Tries the World channel and the Boost. Jen and I were just talking about this yesterday. Our small community on the Boost, which is growing, by the way, it's growing. We've only been doing it for like 2.5 weeks. It's growing. We are in love with our community right now, and it makes it so fun. We are so amped to do the next episode, which, you know, is averaging around 200 or so views. That we don't care. I mean, of course we would like more views, but right now, in the beginning stages of this channel, which we're kind of showing everyone like what we're doing, we did a whole podcast episode where we're explaining our strategy for growing the channel and kind of our goals and everything. But this past week with Rob, when Rob came on, we talked and we answered all the questions from emails. We're getting emails from fans, which is amazing. We're getting incredible comments on the YouTube channel. It's been the most fun as a creator. I have a video with over 1 million views on YouTube. Nothing even close. It's not even nearly as fun as what I've been doing the last couple of weeks on the Boost. So I will tell you, the Boost has been the most fun in a long time for me, and it's a small channel. So do what makes you happy ultimately. And if what makes you happy ends up catching on, you're going to be more happy than ever.
Can I ask you a question though, Travis? Just to,
yeah.
It's not exactly playing devil's advocate, but I'm trying to see this
Sure.
from the perspective of like a creator who hasn't been able to make any of this financially sustainable or anything.
Yeah.
Like, can you afford to not care because you have this previous success, like you work in the industry? And I guess it's hard for us to answer that question from a position of like just raw passion. Like I'm ready. I want to be in YouTube. I want to seize this opportunity. And like, I get completely what you're saying. Like, it is awesome to not have to care about analytics and just be part of a community and thrive in it. That is amazing. But at the same time, does there need to be a bit of a trade-off to service the YouTube platform and what it wants to potentially make this for financially sustainable 2 or 3 years down the line?
It depends, because ultimately, you know, a lot of people say, I want to go full-time, be a full-time creator and stuff. What they don't understand is that it's another job. It's a different job. You're working for yourself, but it's a different job with new responsibilities you may not be ready for. When you go to your normal job, most people have a set schedule and they know about how much they're going to get paid every paycheck. And if you put in extra work, you get extra pay. That is not the case with YouTube. You can put in a whole bunch of extra work and make less money. So the problem with it is not a stable thing. You also don't get benefits. Like, you got to pay for that. So there's a whole bunch of things that people don't talk about when they're talking about, I can't wait to become a full-time YouTuber. They don't realize that the taxes are done completely differently. You have no insurance. You got to make sure that you make enough money that, like, if next month AdSense goes in the toilet and you don't have any sponsors, that you actually can still eat. Like, there's a whole, and by the way, you're still working as many hours, if not more than that one before. it's not all glamour. It is great when it works. It's phenomenal, but the amount of stress and the mental kind of struggles you have may be more than what it's worth for certain people that might like stability. If you enjoy stability, don't try to do this full time. I'm just going to tell you right now, as a side gig that maybe makes you some extra money on the side, it's perfect. Do your normal job, use this as a side gig, get some play money, and live that rich life without being rich. If you put everything into this, just know that it's not all horseshoes and I don't know, what is it, rainbows and stuff. There's a lot of work to it. So I don't know.
I think this was a person asked the question, right? Comedy Bob. It's like they have a full-time job and will love to do the channel full-time. And like you are mirroring probably what everybody else wants to do on this live stream right now. But what I like, again, a cautionary word here is when you do the channel full-time, it does become your job.
Yeah.
Having said that, I wouldn't change it for the world. Like I do not know how I would ever be able to go back into the real world. You know,
I gotta be. I'm screwed if that ever has to happen. Yeah. I'm really up the creek. Right. So there's two sides of it. Ultimately, I would never change anything, but I know how much work I put in and how much stress I've been through, and I'm built for that. Not everyone is. It doesn't mean you're any less of a person or creator. It's just not everyone can deal with that, and it's not worth it for them. And it makes it not fun. It reminds me of the old, those saying like, you work at a pizza place and you're there 40, 60 hours a week. Are you always going to eat pizza? No, I did. I was all right with it. I worked at Little Caesars in high school and I was eating it every single day, but some people don't like that. It's too much. And it's like, nah, I just want this to be fun. And if you want it to be fun and make a little side money, it's the best side hustle you can have, period, end of story. If you want it to be full-time, it's just a different level of commitment.
It is a challenge to recalibrate your work-life balance, because your fun becomes your work.
Yeah.
But then what becomes your fun?
Right.
That can be and like I have the hugest respect for people within the vidIQ team who are not only do this as their day job, they're not creators, but they're working within the YouTube industry and they're working at vidIQ. But then they also run channels as well, like Jeff, who's a coach here. But when he finishes coaching, he's got to create. I don't know how I would be able to do that. Like, I am happy that at the end of this live stream, my day is kind of done and I can go walk Jasper. I can play some video games. I don't have to worry about making videos afterwards. So it's like, it is an insane industry and business, but it's also incredible. Great question, that one. I love the conversation we had there.
This may have been a regular video, so there's a lot more knowledge. And in this one, thank you. That's amazing, Park. If you like stuff like this, come over to the boost. We have conversations like this all the time, and we had a conversation like this with Rob just this week. Go check out the boost. I know that I'm shilling for the boost, but it's a great channel.
A third of the people are watching this live stream, I think, than the usual channel audits. But this has been so fulfilling and different and rewarding, and that you just need to do that sometimes. And for all of these people who've stayed with us throughout the live stream, like, thumbs up and thank you for allowing us to indulge ourselves for once.
Yeah. Here we go. So next up on the boost, Travis Studio Tour. This would take 30 seconds. I mean, it really would not take long.
No, I think you'd need to play the first level of every single arcade game. You got in the background there.
That would take longer. But other than that, I mean, there's not a lot here. It's an L desk with 4 monitors, 3 monitors. I'm down to 3 now. And another computer, and that's about it. And my camera there, a couple cameras here, mic, and that's it. But if people really want it, I'll send you we'll put the link in the chat. Someone put the link for the boost in the chat so Ali can check it. I think you would love that channel. I really think you would dig it. Ali's been around for a minute. Anything else we need to go over before we head out for the day?
I can't think of anything. Like I said, that was exhausting.
It was. I mean, I just got here for the last half of it, and I sat in the back not doing much for most of it. I did run out of the house a couple times to catch the recycle guy because he came back through it's a whole thing. We only get garbage and recycling once every 2 weeks here. So if you miss, it's terrible. It is a terrible, terrible thing to have to go through that.
I suppose we should finish with the Deadpool Wolverine conversation, because like Travis has been encouraging me to watch it for the last week, and I eventually did. And so he asked, what did I think? People in the chat, let us know if you've seen Deadpool. How would you rate it out of 10? 10 being the best film you've ever seen.
I sent you a link. The reason why I asked you is because I sent you a link for a video. It's definitely it's on par with the things we review here on the channel.
I'll check it out. But
yeah.
My rating was a solid 6 out of 10. Now you may think 6 out of 10. When I rate stuff, when I say something is 5 out of 10, like it is fine. It's all right. It was average. So 6 out of 10 for me is a better film than average for me. It was enjoyable, obviously very entertaining, very funny. But what I will say is that I can't remember a Ryan Reynolds film that didn't end up just kind of revolving around his sphere of comedy at the detriment of the story. And so I think Logan is a far better storytelling film to watch. But it was fine. Deadpool was fine. Deadpool Wolverine was fine.
It's different. It's different, right? Because you have to remember Deadpool is that character. Like that is what that character is.
Yeah.
I thought, as I said, is one of the best movies I've ever seen. And I'm not even like super into like super hero movies, but it's one of my top 5 favorite movies of all time now. I just think it's amazing.
Wow.
Real quick, how do I turn short views into long ones? That's a question that's loaded in every single potential way.
That's one for next week, I think.
Yeah, can we wait till next week for that?
TLDR is, I suggest, so the shorts, make the longs very, very short longs. So like if a short is 20 seconds long, make a long form video, which is 1:20. So it still has the same characteristics as a short. Try that.
Yeah. I see a couple people just asking what the boost is. The boost is our podcast. You can see we have a link in the community tab. We'll put one more link before we leave. Rob was on this week's episode, so if you want to hear more of his thoughts about YouTube and just and answering questions from creators that emailed in, which I loved. It was lots of fun. Check it out. There's a link. It's a long link, but it'll work.
All right. You heard the music in the background. I don't think it distorted Travis as he was talking there, which is the first...
because it sounds like it's coming through your speaker. Like it's not coming through the stream. It's like coming through your microphone. Cool.
Folks, we will be back next week, probably with channel audits again. In the meantime, we have another live stream tomorrow, which will be thumbnail audits from John. I think we've got content every single day on the channel this month. So do make sure to tune in for everything. And of course, the Boost podcast, that's where it's at. That's where it's at right now. I was on Monday, loved the conversation, and I hope Travis invites me back soon. I will invite Travis to the live stream next week. Until then, we'll see whether or not we turn up.